What happens at laser tag never stays at laser tag.
Laser Unfocused Tag Talk.
Laser Unfocused Tag Talk.
I feel like you could be like in Ghostbusters or something.
Oh my God, you have got some stories.
Let's talk about laser tag.
Who knew you were a laser tag legend?
Time to get laser unfocused. Tag Talk with Tivia.
Welcome to Laser Unfocused Tag Talk. Hi, I'm Tivia. As players arrive in Brisbane, Australia and are preparing for Laserforce Nats, we get some advanced commentary on the tournament. So the Laserforce Nats are on the way and they're going to be happening this coming week. And so I'm excited as all the players are headed for Brisbane, Australia to be joined by Rockwood, who is going to be the event commentator from home base right here in the US. Hi, Rockwood. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Let me tell you, I'm doing great. I'm not boarding any planes. I'm not flying to Australia, so feeling pretty good.
All right. You just kind of get to chill this coming week and watch and add your 2 cents, which is sort of fun. So let's kind of begin with where can we be a part of this? Tell me about what's going to happen. You're going to be streaming this, but where can we watch the commentary? When? How? Give us the details.
Well, I'm so glad you asked. You see, we'll be streaming it live on Twitch from 4 p.m. to about 1 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So I guess that'd be 6 to like 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and regular business hours in Australia.
Okay.
How that works. You can view us live at Twitch, twitch.tv/Laserforce Tournaments. You'll see me, Rockwood. I'll be there for
Awesome.
all those hours. Be great.
That is going to be a lot of live streaming. Now, will you be doing this on your own? Will you have guests? Tell me what we can expect.
So, I'm going to be the main commentator, the prime guy, but that's not to say there won't be some other voices joining us. You can definitely look forward to seeing all sorts of people hopping on, hopping off, as well as some on-site interviews from players who are competing at the site live, boots on the ground. That's gonna be great. There's a lot of work going on behind the scenes to make this all possible. So it's gonna be real exciting to see all this stuff put to use.
That's tremendous. And so I am delighted to hear that this is all coming together and it'll be exciting. So some players and will those of us who are just spectators have a chance to interact with you during this?
Yes. I love interacting with the chat. I love reading little messages and stuff. So yeah, on Twitch you can just type messages in the chat and I will be able to read them live right there on my screen. Please interact. If you have something to say, please say it. It makes me really happy to interact with people while I do the streaming. It's fun to see what's going on.
Excellent.
Talk about who's winning, whatever.
And the Twitch stream and your YouTube, are they the same handle? Is this all at Laserforce Tournaments?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, it will be. I forgot to mention, we're doing a dual live stream, so it'll be streamed on Twitch and YouTube. Although I'm probably just going to see the Twitch messages, and then it will also just be viewable on YouTube under Laserforce Tournaments YouTube channel as well. Yes, thank you for asking that.
Awesome. So what are some of the fun things that are new this year at Nats? I've been hearing sort of the scuttle about, some profiles and bios and things. Are you at liberty to tell me anything? Give us the scoop.
Yeah, I could say a few things. First of all, the viewing experience. Take everything that we learned from last year's Nats, right? Last year's Nats is very professional, very, very well done. Yeah, just take everything that we did last year, that we learned from the graphics and the player interviews and all that jazz at the cameras. We're gonna have more of that. The guys, shout out to Comp Geek, shout out to Guy Next Door, shout out to Mr. Mischief, Luke, shout out to Gabe. They are all doing a lot of work behind the scenes to make all these cool graphics, and they've updated the scoreboard yet again. The scoreboard, it's pretty exciting. It's gonna have a lot more information on it, like a lot more information. They're still fine-tuning some of the details, but like the demos and stuff that I've seen, it's gonna make it really, really exciting and interesting to just from a commentator's perspective, you'll have access to so much more information. And even from a spectator's perspective, just the information that's there and the readability too. They've been going like nonstop. Every decision they make, it's like, okay, this looks great. Is it readable? You know, because is it easy to just like, can a casual person glance at this and be like, oh, okay, I understand what's going on. So super excited for all that stuff. And again, there will be live player interviews, which is going to be awesome. Can get genuine in the moment feedback. And the cameras, they're doing some more camera work in the arena. Um, so
Sounds like it'll be very cool to watch from this end.
yes, yeah, the cameras are going to have audio. So
Uh-oh.
that's what my first thought was, okay, so are the refs gonna be a little more harsh about the no cursing rules, or so like they have some stuff worked out. Like if I talk, like you won't, like if I go silent, then you'll be able to hear the audio, but we'll see. Like
Okay, so
again.
I'm going to go down the list and pick out which games you need to just constantly talk through.
Yeah.
And to that end, let's talk about the teams. How many teams are we expecting? And can you give us kind of a rundown of who's participating here?
Yes, yeah. So there are going to be 8 teams. Three of them are from the site, are from the Brisbane. You got, I guess let's start with the Brisbane teams. You got
Yeah.
Brisbane A, which, they have the powerhouse, Rusty, Rusty Laserforce Laser Tag. That's his full name, Space Marines 5. That's his name. Uh, he's the pack and a mean punch there. Then you got Brisbane B, which is led by Morange. Um, also an incredible laser tag veteran. So chances are you're gonna see some pretty mean scores from those teams. Then you got Brisbane C, which is led by they got some interesting names on that team. I think my favorite's got to be Toyota. Shout out to Toyota in particular. I'm just Team Toyota.
I like it.
Yeah. And they got Lucy Dune on there. She's pretty cool. I like her.
Yes, shout out to Lucy.
Shout out to Lucy. Genuinely just cool person all around.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
And she's always up when it's first thing in the morning on the eastern side of the US. She is always up for some reason. So we have been able to kind of coincide and coordinate conversations just by happenstance, which is cool. So
Yeah, she's awesome to talk to. Then you got their neighbors from New Zealand. You got the Kiwis, the Auckland A, which is wait.
even though they don't appear to be accompanied by Auckland B this year, right? Just Auckland A.
Yeah, so it says in here. Also, Auckland A has Morange. I'm sorry. Brisbane B. Yeah, Morange is from Auckland, not Brisbane. I'm sorry. Please don't skin me alive, anyone who's watching this. Actually,
he's all the way on the other
do.
side of the globe.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Forgive him.
It's okay. I'm learning. We got the up and comers, the brand spanking new Loveland Curveballs. So
Which
that's
I love
pretty
that
exciting.
name.
You know, I I think it's a pretty cool name. Interesting to use a baseball term for laser tag. That'd be like a football team and their names are like, the slam dunks. But no, it's a cool name. I like it. It's of course led by all the fresh face people at Loveland. We got Ash, who was formerly Strictva. You got the Azra, Lizzie Lizard, the head of the college. She's got a college club going on there. I believe it's like laser tag and waffles or something. They play laser tag
love
every week
that.
and then they get waffles afterwards.
I want to join
Redneck
that.
Tech. I
Yes,
know, it's
RNT
brilliant.
representing the other, almost the other coast.
Yeah. So that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Uh,
And we
yes,
have another first-time team making an appearance at Brisbane, right?
yes, I believe so.
Which
We
is
do
surprising
have.
because it's an Australian team, and yet their first time here. Did I get that right?
I'm not sure about where they hail from, but all I know is that they are all like they're zone players. They all play on the zone system, and this is their first
Ah,
Laserforce tournament.
interesting.
So yes, on that spreadsheet it has like the list of like the average amount of games played for all
Hmm.
the teams. And you got Brisbane A where their average number of missions played is like 4,000. And then you have the zone team, and their average missions played is like 100, I think. Maybe even less than that. I think 100 might be like the top, and the average is 40. So, which isn't necessarily reflective of their skill because they've competed before just on other systems. So, pretty
No, and I think
exciting,
that it's really kind of cool because you could have some surprises, and
right? Why not? Why
nothing
can't they? Why
nothing is a
shouldn't they?
given ever.
Yes, it'd be very interesting to see how they perform because like genuinely I have no expectations. You got Brisbane A. It's like, oh, the chances are, they're probably going to take top spot. It's their home arena. They got, Rusty, like, and like the curveballs, they're new. This is their first tournament, I believe at least as an official team outside of their arena. It's going to be tough for them. But the zone players have no idea, no idea what to expect.
They could be fierce.
It could be
And
fierce.
because we don't know, okay, I'm just going to go on the record now as saying that I love to root for an underdog. You know what? I'm not going to go on the record with anything, but I will say I do love to root for an underdog. So, do you see any of these teams kind of fitting into that position, or is it just simply wide open?
I just barely got done recording a power rankings episode for my other podcast, Triple Tap Podcast, which you should definitely check out,
Yeah, shout that
guys.
out.
100% check it out. Should be released soon, hopefully before Nats. That'd be really awkward if it wasn't. And we ranked all the teams, and in terms of underdogs, it's a pretty common opinion that the Loveland Curveballs and the Zone team are both pretty underdog just because of experience. And again, like we don't really know what to expect from the Zone team
Mhm.
because I mean I've seen Zone people play. They're insane. They're crazy. They're just like they're moving like they're yeah.
Well, now let's talk about the skill sets and how they transfer over, though, because coming from a background where I've played both the Zone and the Laser Force, these are not systems that share a lot of commonality. The play style is completely different. So it really is kind of a different animal when you leap from one to the next. And yet, knowing full well that there's a lot of skill with that system, particularly in Australia, I would not rule out anything.
I need your expert opinion on this. Do you think that it will be hard for them? Like, do you see them committing a lot of penalties, being able to break free of the habits of
I think
blind
that
firing?
yes, you're picking up on something that is one of those key differences, and I think that it is very hard to break through the habits. So, um, when you're looking at how many missions they've played, I'm going to speculate it probably has not broken them of what is natural to them. So perhaps there's going to be a little bit more of that learning curve still going on, but who's to say? Who's
Do
to
you
say?
think the
But
refs
blind
will be
firing is certainly, I mean, you never want to be blind firing anywhere, but the position holding of the phaser, for example, would be maybe uh, a better example of what they're probably accustomed to. In zone, you either play high or low,
right?
and sensor coverage is very different when you've got the sensor placement in different spots. So I think it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to watch that. I wonder if the refs are gonna be like focusing extra hard on the zone players, but hopefully not.
Hopefully, everybody just does their best to adhere to the rules because, we never break rules like
No, no.
like the running rules. Let's switch gears for a moment. Good. Just ever so slightly. This is a tangent we'll bring right back. But recently, you were a commentator on the live stream for the first laser ball tournament that happened at the Fun Warehouse,
I
and two
was.
unexpected things happened. One of them was I showed up. And apparently you were quite surprised by that, which I got such a
Uh,
kick out of that. I
I
loved
loved reading
listening
your
back to it.
blog because it's just like there's a whole like section dedicated to just like me being confused that you were there. And you're like,
I,
yeah, I don't
I
know why he's confused. I've played like I've played 4 tournaments in the last 3 weeks. Where's this guy been?
But to be fair, you're absolutely right that I don't typically show up on the SM5 scene.
I
But
have never
Syracuse is my home arena, and so I did get kind of a kick out of that.
I've never seen your name on the scoreboard. So
Well, I'm so glad that we were doing well that game so that you saw my avatar pop up there.
yeah, it's just because like you have the avatar, and I was like, maybe someone just saw the avatar and was like, oh, this avatar's Tivia. That's a cool name. Maybe I'll do that. And it's just like a random player because you got like how many like there are so many bagels, right? There's so many bagels.
Well,
You know,
shout out to
it's a
Laserforce for that avatar. That was so cool. But yeah, so that was one of the surprises. But leading it back to where I was going with, we never break those rules. Um, Cody had an incident, as did I, although all I can say is I bruised my leg. I took a tumble and bruised my leg. Cody took a tumble and fell hard, sprained his ankle. I haven't spoken to him since that had happened. So tell me, where do we stand? What might that mean for Team USA East? Because when
well,
you run,
I will say he's playing laser ball right. The key to winning is to just go fast. That was my official advice, as you did mention in your blog. As far as where we stand, um, Cody is gonna be playing.
okay, knew
He
he was
did
headed
have
to
to,
Australia no matter what.
yeah, he did go to the hospital. Saw some gnarly pictures that I could definitely have gone through my day without seeing. Um, but he's doing good,
Okay,
I
good.
think. He's been in the Discord making a lot of jokes, and he even found a funny clip from when Luke was interviewing him about him saying how he'd planned on not getting injured right before Nats, and
Mm,
then he got injured right before Nats. So
well,
I
we're
think
certainly wishing him well.
the lesson
Yeah.
we can learn here is not to joke about getting injured, because then you'll cement it. It's gonna happen.
Okay, so the lesson is not don't run or behave yourself better in the arena. The lesson is don't joke about it.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
no, you can play dangerously. That's fine. Rockwood's official advice. You could, the rules are made to be broken. Just don't joke about it beforehand.
Okay. The views expressed by Rockwood on this podcast do not necessarily reflect those of Tivia. There's my disclaimer. Okay. Well, I was aware of that particular curveball. I was not aware of the Loveland curveballs. That's why I love that name. But what else is going on in the Laserforce community that might throw any surprises into this tournament? Is there anybody else going into this with any surprises or things that we should keep an eye out for?
Well, I guess by definition, a surprise is something you don't quite know about yet.
Fair.
Um, I know a lot of them forgot their Magic the Gathering cards at home.
Okay. And are these lucky cards?
Um, I would say avoid them at all cost.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
No surprises that I are you is there a surprise you're thinking of?
Well, I am surprised to hear the news about there being a full zone team. So that's to me what I will call a curveball. Um, Other than that, I'm not aware of any incidents. So hopefully everybody stays safe, play
Mhm.
safely, get home in one piece.
Actually, I think there is something. I think you just jogged my memory. I think there is something that happened. I think someone's flight.
Oh,
Actually,
flight
I think
issues. Oh my
it
gosh. Yeah.
yes, I think that was it Cody whose flight got delayed?
For
I'm looking for it now. I swear someone's flight got delayed
When I
by a
heard
few
about an
days.
incident in Denver, I was like, oh no, but that flight was not going to Brisbane, so it was not our people. But okay, so flight issues. Yeah, and when you're doing a big international flight, and I mean it takes you like a solid day to get from the US over to Australia. So it's a bigger deal than just missing a flight to Dallas.
Okay, I found it. It is Cody.
Oh, poor
He says,
Cody.
I'm quoting him here. First, he says, I hate everything, LMAO. First, I hurt myself at the beginning of the week. Now, one of my flights gets canceled, causing me to miss my flight to Brisbane. So now I'm arriving like 3 days later than planned. But
The good
I
news
think
was he built in a cushion to begin with. He had like a week ahead of time or something that he was
yes.
going out.
Okay,
Am I
so
right?
he's not
Yeah.
going to be missing uh the tournament, but
Okay, good.
okay, so Cody is kind of going through it, but he
Okay,
is
how is the
okay and
rest
he
of
will
the
make it.
US team responding to this? Are they like, sheesh, what
Uh,
next? Or
some
are they
people,
rallying?
um, some people making fun of him. Uh, one of them is me because I take all my flights out of Las Vegas, and we never have to worry about rain ever, or wind, or
Yeah.
bad weather. So, never had a flight get delayed. I know lots of grievances in the past because typically the airlines are not very they're not the best when they handle luggage.
I have
Um,
heard some luggage stories.
I think even
Share, what have people been experiencing with that?
um it's typically flying to Australia or New Zealand. There's an airline, I don't quite know the name, but they have a really bad history of forgetting players' luggage. Like I think DK, I believe it's DK, he's always getting kind of a rotten deal when it comes to that. I think he must have like the most records for the amount of luggage lost while flying. I believe it even happened to the Cedar team when they went out 2 years ago. Like
Mm,
I think Thunder and Snuffles
Snuffles, yeah, I remember him talking about that.
lost his lost like a whole luggage uh suitcase. Yeah, that's not good. They still won, so I mean, I guess it's not necessarily bad luck, but you know, you still don't have all your stuff.
Yeah, isn't good luck.
It could be good luck. Yeah, it's true. Maybe just for future reference, if you are on your way to a laser tag tournament and your luggage gets mishandled, that's a good sign. That's a good sign. Rockwood's tips. Always break the rules. If your luggage gets lost, that's lucky. That's good thing. 2 thumbs up. Like you're
All
gonna
right.
win all the trophies.
Tivia's tip is just take it all in your carry-on. I have pictures of 2 bags sitting at my door that contained like better than a week's worth of luggage. It can be done. Just saying. But all right, so we'll hope that everybody survives without incident and all the planes get there. Assuming that everybody is getting their way to Brisbane, once they're all there, what predictions do you have? If you can give us a sneak peek of your podcast, what predictions would you make and what do you expect to see happen?
Well, I expect obviously uh Brisbane A to win. They got Rusty, right? He's the most missions of any Laserforce player. He's got about like 9,000 games. You got Taipan, who is a multi-system, you know, world champion. He just recently like won zone was it zone world
Zone
leader?
Australia Nat. Yep. We had him
Yeah,
on the podcast.
and
Congrats.
he's a congratulations to him, and also Laserforce. So
Mhm.
clearly, a jack of all trades, master of some. And then they do have we do have a bet. See, they have JFK and Sharpshooter on their team, and so we do have at the triple tap. We do have a little bit of a bet going on that there will be at least one instance where Sharpshooter friendly fires JFK, hoping that it's not a head injury. Um, yeah. In terms of the U.S. teams, which I didn't actually get onto mentioning before, we got the U.S. East and U.S. West.
Oh gosh,
I
we skipped right
believe
over our US team. Sorry.
who cares about them? No one from
Yes,
Cedar
we
City
have.
or St. George is going.
Okay. Go on
We
though.
have
Let's talk about them. Because a couple of
so
the players on the East team are from my home site, so you gotta give a shout out.
right. You got Beans.
Hmm.
Massive shout out to him for coordinating the Laser Ball tournament, for being a
Yes,
cool
very nicely
dude.
done, Beans.
Yes, we got Scythe. I personally don't know too much about him, but I have heard about him a lot. I think he was on the 2021
He'll be fierce.
West
Not a Syracuse
Coast.
player, but still fierce.
We got Cody,
We don't
you
know
know.
what's gonna happen here. We just hope that he comes back.
He doesn't have a crutch, so I think he'll be good. Got Do Not Pass Go. It's a
Hmm.
classic. Got Brew. Love Brew. Very chill guy. You got Disco Stew, rhymes with Brew. And Tomik. I assume the two I's is like Tomik. Is it Tomik sound? Um, so that's the US East team. Pretty swag. Versus the US West, we got, this is mostly comprised of California and some Colorado players, right? We got Fear Turkey from Colorado. We got DK. Uh, at the average age bracket for US West, is like senior citizen discount age, but you got DK and Old Man Than,
Oh,
you
shout out
know.
to Than
Shout out
and
to
DK.
Than,
Shout out to all my
to the senior
and
citizens of
Josiah.
laser
I mean
tag.
everybody.
Yeah, and then you got Simply Okay, John, made an amazing Gen 8 soundtrack, Sergeant Tucker, and then this is, I guess, one of the surprises. El Diablo from Germany is on the US West team.
All right, I would call a German player on the US team definitely a curveball. So
Yeah.
cool.
It wouldn't be his first Nats playing for a US West based team because he was on my team last year.
Hmm.
The St. George Sunbeams. Shout out to those guys. Legendary name, by the way. Whoever came up with that was a genius. Um, so personally, I'm just gonna say it. I have ranked US East above US West in my power rankings.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe Snuffles has also done the same, but not Metal Face. He thinks US West will be better. Personally, I just think that US East kind of has a maybe some more synergy, I guess. I don't know. It's really hard. It's really hard. Like looking at the names, it's really hard to accurately predict who will outperform who. Like they've got kind of, you know, it's a very, very solid lineup. I don't want to diss either team by saying I think one team will do better.
Well, what I'll add to this is that my belief is that your comment about synergy is probably dead on because being from Syracuse, I know that they have been making some solid efforts to have Michigan players come down our way and, make the time to get to play together, which is just a tiny bit easier with the geography involved with that as opposed to you don't have as many choices for active tournament sites going on the West Coast. So that might be a bit of a challenge for those players to get that same
Yeah.
kind of gelling of their team. That's the only reason that I'll put one over the other in terms of that.
Yeah, no, that's kind of exactly my line of thought too. It's just harder for California players to practice when they don't have an active site down there.
Mm-hmm. Not that there aren't active sites, but just the tournament presence,
The
you know,
tournament.
is a little bit tougher
It-
to get that
yeah.
same thing going. And I mean, California, that's a big state. So even when you've got,
They
even when
have
you've got
Lost
a site
Worlds
to
down
go
there,
to,
right?
yes.
Okay. I've been wanting to go to Lost Worlds, I just waiting for like the money to magically appear in my hand, like, oh, now I can go to Lost Worlds. But it's cool that they're doing that down there.
Yeah. And I mean, they're all definitely experienced players, and it's a little bit like riding a bike, it's not going to disappear from you. So hopefully what benefits them is all of that age and experience. So
Right. And they do have two 2024 world champions on their team, or three, I guess, right? Simply Okay, Fear Turkey, and Sergeant Tucker. Were they all on the Loveland Phoenix?
I will trust your memory on that one, but they could be. Sounds reasonable.
Well, I know for a fact that Sergeant Tucker is a current world champion 2024.
Okay.
So, they got that going for them, but we'll see how they fare outside of their home arena.
Very good. Which begs a question as we talk about world champions and, the home arenas, and there are to say that there's a lot of arenas to play for sure, but there's a more limited number of tournament ready or tournament interested cultivating sites, maybe.
Yeah.
So it begs the question, with Laserforce being played literally worldwide, why do you think it is that we don't see more teams from outside of regions like Australia, New Zealand, and the US? Why don't we have a Czech team there, for example?
I think the biggest reason is just the lack of interest in Space Marines 5, at least competitively. Like, if you hear Lucy Dune's podcast episode with Mischief, like it's all laser ball. Like in Europe and in Czech, laser ball is all the craze. Space Marines 5 is another game mode that's in the roster, right? It's like SM4, Color Conquest, and then, to play competitively, you have to learn all these rules and, it's a big point of contention about the blind firing. I believe that's one of the reasons why it's been taking so long to have a Space Marines 5 tournament outside of the US and the New Zealand, Australia area is because other players don't want to play by the official rule book with blind fires, and that can make it hard to organize a tournament to say, hey, we want to come over here and force you to play by our rules, by the way. But there is talk, you didn't hear it from me, but there is talk of 2027 possibly being in Europe.
Interesting.
Hmm.
I didn't hear a word.
You didn't hear squat from Rockwood.
Okay, everybody, shh. It's just between you, me, and everybody listening.
Yeah, and
Shh.
everybody listening.
Keep it quiet.
Yeah. So I think that's probably the biggest reason is just the interest, right? Everyone's focused on laser ball.
Which is intriguing, actually. I must say, when it launched, I found laser ball to be interesting. I did not foresee, although a lot of people did. I mean, some people said this is going to be the direction of tournaments, but I did not see it stepping up as quickly as it did to cultivate this scene. And just before, literally the night before the laser ball tournament in Syracuse, I happened to be on Long Island playing at Kinetics, and went down there for some laser ball practice. And their members, their regulars, they were all about that. So, we
Yeah.
didn't have enough in the room for SM5, but it was going to be laser ball no matter what. So it's
Right.
interesting to see, yeah, the new players stepping in and, which direction do they gravitate to?
Yeah.
And which direction does a site lead you to? Because a lot of the availability of opportunity depends on the interest and the willingness of the site owners. You're not necessarily going to have a tournament experience in your average, not every FEC is going to be bringing that kind of interest to the tournament scene. So
Right. No,
it's intriguing to see, how the communities are changing as they go along and what's taking at this point.
yeah, I will say, like I obviously, coming from St. George, Utah, I happen to be exposed to Space Marines 5 because we happen to have a bunch of seasoned like veteran players that showed up every week. Like if you want to play laser tag, it's gotta be Space Marines. But laser ball works like you just said, with Space Marines 5, you need either 10 or 12 people, preferably 12, right? That's like the number you work with is 12 people. But laser ball, if you have 4 people, even if you have like an odd number of people, you can just you can skew the teams a little bit and put some better players on less teams, and it's very easy to play. It's very simple. It's very easy to pick up. And it's fast paced and like it's fun. Like it's fun. Um, it's a golden recipe for getting people hooked, into laser tag when you have a game that can be, the I think one of the biggest setbacks about Space Marines 5 is, it's not pick up and play, it's not like I always kind of compare it to like football or soccer, or even basketball. All you need is a ball and then some place to play, grab some people, and you can just do a pickup game of whatever you want, But with laser tag, you need a site with Laserforce packs, ideally a good member base. You need an arena, and then those packs aren't cheap. You need the software, the hardware, the people, a location to play, interest in playing it, and then especially if they charge per game, it can be quite expensive as opposed to just buying a football and then going to the park and just playing with it as long as you like. So I think laser ball kind of negates some of those downsides, because you got all those high barrier of entry, and then you got Space Marines 5, which takes all that and says, what if we made this like even more of an elitist thing to do? Because now you gotta practice, right? You gotta play at least 100 games before you're competent in doing anything. When it comes to the rules, you have to learn the rules, and then there are the rules, right? You have to learn all the international rules and play by them. And then you learn how to ref, and then it's like, all right, you want to play, you want to actually get better? Well, you have to go to a tournament. So buy a plane ticket, get a team, and then, participate. And that's a big ask. Laser ball kind of dumbs it down by saying, all right, doesn't, you can have someone who's super committed and someone who's casual. They both can play laser ball. You don't need a set amount of teams, just preferably an even number of people. And then it's super easy to play, You got the ball, score the ball, and then the rules are still ongoing. Beans did a lot of work with the latest laser ball tournament to try and he took what Loveland did. Loveland did a lot of the legwork and kind of coming up with like the base rules about when you can and can't be in the enemy base, and some other things like that. And then, this latest tournament kind of picked him up and then made like an official like, you know, rule set, and then had an actual tournament that has been recorded and played and done. So it's exciting to see the evolution.
To your knowledge, which sites have had in the US, let's just go with the US right now, which sites have had laser ball tournaments take place? I believe Kinetics did one. I know Syracuse did one. Has Loveland done a proper tournament at this point, or were they just cultivating the rule set?
I don't believe they've done an like actual tournament, at least not in the sense of what Kinetics and Syracuse have done. I know that they do laser ball nights, like during the Mega Members nights where we all play, all you can eat Space Marines.
Mhm.
On one of the nights they had like a laser ball night where like there's like an hour where it's like we could play laser ball with the local community they got going on there. And like it's definitely like, they have all the rules and it's very like I want to say like serious, but not to say that it's not serious, but it's like they know what they're doing. They have a scene there and they do it well. But I don't think they've had like a at least not like a public tournament in that sense.
Okay. It'll be interesting to see, how this develops. But I think that they're on the right track. I think, from what you're telling me, Loveland has put together some thoughts. I know Kinetics had some thoughts and been sort of compiling things based on the experiences so far. And I think that everything is really on the right track as far as that goes.
Right.
And you're right about the barrier to entry. And, commenting about what we were saying before about you were surprised to see me in a laser ball tournament when you haven't seen me in an SM5 tournament. Well, it's not that I have
Yeah.
never. Obviously, I play SM5 at Armageddon and whatnot. I'm competent enough to play it, but as a member in an active tournament site, I know in the beginning when I first started showing up, the barrier to entry for me was geography. I'm an hour and a half from the nearest site, and if they don't start practicing SM5 until 9 or 10 on a weeknight, it limits things a little bit more. So I hope that the scene continues to grow and that the welcoming of the scene becomes apparent. But you're absolutely right that there are easier games to step into, and you do have to invest some time. So that's really why getting to this Nats level is all the more impressive when you think about the hoops that had to be jumped through to get to that caliber. So it's pretty impressive to see what these players are doing. And, I hope that the scene only continues to grow. Um,
Yeah. No, I think it's much easier to grow a laser ball scene than a Space Marines 5 scene. Space Marines 5, it's very difficult to get a new person. It takes a lot of time and dedication to become like a competitive Space Marines 5 player as opposed to, playing laser ball. Much easier gateway to entry. So the scene, it's not, like is it really surprising that laser ball has been kind of blown up? I don't think so.
in that context, you're absolutely right. And hopefully, laser tag operators will continue to support competition, and because you really do have to have a site that supports the idea of doing this, and you can't just have one little tournament and be done with it. You really, I mean, anything you want to do well takes practice, and so
Right.
it's it's heartening to see some new sites coming into the mix though, and players coming from
Mhm.
places that you don't necessarily anticipate. And
Yeah.
so that's why truly anything can happen any given day, as my dad used to say. So
Yeah.
um,
The future's looking pretty bright, especially with this the big old like worldwide Laserforce Discord they got. Like this last laser ball tournament has sparked a lot of discussion, about like the legitimacy of laser ball. Everyone's talking about the rules, like, oh, if laser ball tournaments are happening, like, how do we integrate this with Space Marines 5 players? And now a lot of like I remember like the week after the tournament happened, like the Discord was just, hundreds of unread messages every time you check back about people just discussing blind firing.
hmm,
Like, oh, do we allow blind firing? Do we change that for laser ball? Do we keep the Space Marines 5 rules? Like what rules should be changed from Space Marines 5 to laser ball to better fit the game? Um, you got some people who think that Space Marines 5 rules are the golden standard. Um, others who believe that, Space Marines 5 is for stuck-up losers and there should be no rules. You should have that fun should kind of be allowed. Um, I believe that the rules should 100% be open to change. If the rules don't service the game, right? Space Marines 5 is slower. It's a more methodical. I guess, game. There's more thought, and there's consequences, and there's all sorts of rules. Like I think Space Marines 5 benefits from having lots of rules because it's a game that requires lots of thought and care and strategy. But Laser Ball is about having fun. So, if it's moment to moment, fun, like especially if they're 5-minute games, like who cares about blind firing? I personally am not a fan of blind firing, but I think that it services the game better. You know, why not? Why not change the rules to make the game more fun? Lean into the game's strengths, give it its own identity.
Well, and what both of those formats have that I think is really important to point out is that they are truly team games. And I say that because obviously a lot of laser tag is team based, but you can be a standout and you can be the one to just break away in certain systems, whereas both of these you really have to be gelling. It's a team effort. It isn't one man carries the boat. So
Right. I like to say that a team is only as strong as its weakest link.
yeah,
And
so
I feel like that's true. You could have a S tier player, but if you got someone who's not doing their job, then it doesn't matter how good the 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 players. It's not like you said, it's not a one man army. It's a team game. So that's why I believe in synergy more than skill.
I agree. And I wish all of the teams next week lots of synergy, lots of great games. I'm excited about this. I'm excited to see the live stream and see how all this goes down. And I'm wishing them the best. But what would you like to say to the players on the other side of the globe as they're getting ready right now, preparing for this competition?
I would like to say, please, please make sure you stretch beforehand. I pray that you brought a massage gun. You're gonna need one of those. Don't roll your ankle and have fun. And most importantly, like and subscribe. Like this video and subscribe, please. If you do any of those things, do that. If you get
Yes,
injured,
like
that's
and
fine.
subscribe
As
this
long
video.
as you like and subscribe this video. And also
And what
maybe
other
Triple Tap Podcast.
videos? Where else do they need to go? Let's give a final plug to where can we see this coverage again?
Laserforce Tournaments. You can find them on Twitch, twitch.tv/Laserforce Tournaments, www.youtube.com/Laserforce Tournaments. Every day from Monday the 4th to Thursday the 7th. Does that math check out? 8th,
Yep.
7th? Cool.
7, 8, Monday to Thursday. We're right.
Monday to Thursday.
Okay.
Next week, 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and whenever the heck you wake up in Australian Standard Time. I'll be here.
Perfect.
I'll be here.
Awesome. Well, I am so glad we had a chance to talk prior to this tournament. Thank you. My thanks to Rockwood for joining me in advance of the 2025 Laserforce Nats, and best of luck to all the teams. Thanks so much.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Thanks for checking out this episode of Laser Unfocused Tag Talk. Listen for more episodes on the first and third Friday of each month. Want to be a guest on an upcoming episode? Find out more and follow my blog and website at TiviaChickLovesLaserTag.com.